Hi, Claude Whitacre here. I'm a sales trainer, a sales speaker. I speak to groups of salespeople across the country. I've also written several books on the subject of selling. One of them is Sales Prospecting, the Ultimate Guide to Finding Highly Likely Prospects You Can Close in One Call. Well, I talk about several different ways of prospecting. I talk about referrals. Of course, referrals are probably the best way to prospect if you can just work referrals. Why? Because they're a much higher percentage of the time they're going to buy from you. You're not being rejected. You don't have to dig through a lot of dirt to get to the gold. You know, you're just really talking to really qualified people because you're only getting referrals that are qualified. You're not asking for referrals that are not qualified. You're qualifying your referrals as you're getting them. And explains how to do that in the book. Well, one of the reasons I still like to cold call, and I suggest cold calling even when you're working referrals, just cold call occasionally. Here's why. Because if you have been getting referrals and working referrals for any length of time, you already know that this can happen. Most referral groups are connected in some way. So, for example, they might be part of an organization. So you're getting referrals from one member of this organization to another member of the organization, or they're in the same industry, or they work for the same company, or they go to the same church, or they give to the same charity. There's something connecting these people, or even if it's just that they're the neighbors or relatives or something like that. They're just connected in some way. Okay. Well, here's what happens. Those connections end up being kind of closed. So, for example, if you're talking to people that are a member of a church, and they're referring other people to you, they're also members of the church, and you're going through this nest of people that go to this church, what ends up happening eventually is people start giving you the same names because you're kind of running out. Once you get to about 10% or 20% of the people, and you've already talked to 10 or 20% of the people, and they're giving you referrals, you start noticing you're getting the same names. See, cropping up, if they give you 5 names, one of those is somebody you've already talked to, or one of those names is somebody that somebody else gave you that name, and pretty soon it's like most of the names you're getting are people that you've already seen because they're all in that same enclosed group. Well, there's a couple ways of stopping that. One way is to ask for referrals, for people that are not in that group. So if you're talking to people that go to the same church, you might want to also ask for a couple of relatives, okay, that don't go to that church. Or if you're talking to employees with a company, you might want to say, well, how about people that are, that you are good friends, maybe neighbors, that are not in that business. And okay, so now they're going to give you names of people that are not in that closed group, and now you can get referrals from there. But the reason I like to be able to cold call is this. This thing I like to call referral incest, where people start giving you the same names over and over again. They're all part of the same group. Cold calling stops that. Cold calling gives you new blood. Cold calling gives you new names of people that are not associated with this other group at all. And what happens now is you got a cold call lead, you make a cold call, you get a lead, you get a sale. Now you have, what group does that person belong to? Do they belong to associations? Do they belong to a specific church? Do they have specific hobbies? Okay, all of those things start these new groups, these new subgroups that you can now go see. Okay, what do you have any hobbies? Well, yeah, I'm a fly fisherman. Okay, who do you know that's a fly fisherman that you like to fish with? Oh, Bob, I like to fish with Bob. See, now you're going to start talking to fly fishermen. Okay, for a long time I was talking to construction workers. I was talking to guys that had motorcycles. I was talking to photographers for a long time. Home inspectors. I was just talking to like these little subgroups I'd end up talking to. But eventually you kind of run out of those people, see, in that group. So cold calling cuts through that and gives you a new group that you can start talking to. Okay, so a lot of that is covered. So referrals and cold calling, complete systems to do both of those. Also, how to use social selling and networking. All of that is covered in my book, Sales Prospecting, the Ultimate Guide to Finding Highly Likely Prospects You Can Close in One Call on Amazon. Thank you.